The champagne was still bubbling when he said the words that would destroy everything. I want a divorce. On our anniversary, while I was 6 months pregnant with his child. But here's what my cheating husband didn't know. My father is a billionaire, and he doesn't just get mad, he gets even. Within 24 hours, my father bought controlling interest in my husband's $300 million company. Within 48 hours, my husband was fired from the CEO position he'd spent 10 years building. And within 3 months, I went from abandoned pregnant wife to the most powerful woman in the industry. This is the story of how my husband's affair partner turned out to be a sociopath, planning to destroy him all along. How I had to choose between revenge and truth, and how I rebuilt myself into someone so successful that his betrayal became the best thing that ever happened to me. My name is Rebecca Brennan, and this is how I went from devastated to dominant in 100 days. Stay with me, because this story has more twists than you can imagine. And the ending? Let's just say karma had a CEO position waiting for me. The waiter had just poured the champagne when Graham said, "I want a divorce." Rebecca Hartwell watched the bubbles rise in her glass. Tiny, perfect, ascending in neat lines like they knew exactly where they were going. Unlike her, unlike this moment, unlike everything about tonight. What? The word came out small, wrong, like it belonged to someone else. Graham straightened his tie. Tom Ford, the burgundy one she had bought him for Christmas. His fingers moved with practiced precision. The same way he signed contracts. The same way he'd kissed her goodbye this morning. "I want a divorce," he repeated. His voice was flat, corporate, the voice he used when he fired people. "I've already had Richard draft the papers." The restaurant hummed around them. Meridian, the most exclusive restaurant in the city. Reservations booked 6 months out. She had called on their actual anniversary date back in May. Secured this table. This night. 5 years married. 5 years to the day. She wore the emerald dress he'd bought her last month. Silk. Expensive. It hugged her body in all the right places, disguising the small swell of her stomach. 6 months pregnant. Barely showing. The doctor said she was lucky. Face frame. First baby. Most people couldn't tell yet. Graham couldn't tell. Or maybe he just hadn't looked. "It's our anniversary," Becca said. Her hand moved to her purse. Inside, wrapped in silver paper, was a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines, clear as day. She'd been holding on to it all evening, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for dessert maybe, or after dinner. Some moment that felt right. This was not that moment. I'm aware. Graham's Rolex caught the candlelight. $50,000 on his wrist. She remembered when he couldn't afford the knockoff version, when they were 25 and broke and happy, when they'd eaten ramen and called it romantic. That was 7 years ago. Different life, different people. His phone buzzed on the white tablecloth. He glanced at it, didn't silence it, just looked. Something crossed his face. Not guilt, relief. "That's why I chose tonight," he continued. "Clean break, symbolic." The words didn't make sense. Clean break, symbolic. These were business terms, merger and acquisition language, not marriage words, not 5-year anniversary words. "I'm pregnant." The words fell out, not how she'd planned, not romantic, not wrapped in silver paper with a bow, just desperate and raw and true. Graham's jaw tightened, the first real emotion she'd seen all evening. His eyes flicked to her stomach, then away, like he couldn't bear to look. "That's unfortunate timing." Unfortunate timing. Their baby, their daughter. Unfortunate timing. Becca counted her breaths. 1, 2, 3. In through the nose, out through the mouth, like her therapist taught her after her mother's cancer scare 3 years ago. The technique was supposed to calm her nervous system, ground her in the present moment. It wasn't working. "Unfortunate," she repeated, testing the word, rolling it around her mouth like poison. "Our baby is unfortunate." Don't be dramatic, Rebecca. He never called her Rebecca, only when he was annoyed, only when she was being inconvenient. "We can discuss arrangements through our attorneys. You'll be comfortable. I'm not a monster." A monster would be easier to understand. Monsters didn't buy you emerald dresses. Monsters didn't hold your hand at your father's retirement party last month. Monsters didn't whisper, "I love you," while you were falling asleep. Monsters didn't celebrate 5-year anniversaries at exclusive restaurants with champagne you couldn't drink because you were pregnant with their child. His phone buzzed again. This time he picked it up, read the message. His lips twitched, almost a smile. The first smile she'd seen in weeks. "You need to go," Becca heard herself say. Her voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from underwater. "You need to leave this table right now." "Becca, get out." For a moment, he looked surprised, actually surprised, like he'd expected her to cry, to beg, to make a scene. But she was a Brennan. Brennans didn't make scenes, they made exits. Graham stood, smoothed his jacket, checked his phone one more time. "My lawyer will contact yours on Monday. Please don't make this difficult." She watched him walk away, watched every woman's eyes follow him. Graham Hartwell, 37 years old, 6 feet tall, dark hair going silver at the temples, CEO of Hartwell Technologies, Forbes profile, Wall Street Journal feature. The man who'd started with nothing and built everything. The man who'd just left his pregnant wife at their anniversary dinner. The waiter appeared at her elbow, young, nervous. He'd probably seen the whole thing. "Ma'am, is everything all right? Can I get you anything?" "The check," Becca said. Her voice was steady now, cold. "And I need to use the restroom." She stood carefully. The emerald dress suddenly felt wrong. Too tight, too green, too expensive, too much. The bathroom was all marble and gold fixtures, soft lighting, fresh flowers, a basket of amenities, hand cream, mouthwash, tampons she wouldn't need for 3 more months. Becca locked herself in the furthest stall, sat fully clothed on the toilet lid, stared at the designer purse in her lap. Louis Vuitton. Graham had given it to her for her birthday. "Every successful woman needs the right accessories," he'd said. She wasn't successful anymore. She'd given that up. VP of marketing at her father's company, built the division from 3 people to 50, pioneered the digital strategy that tripled revenue in 2 years. Business Week had called her a marketing genius under 30. Then she'd met Graham and he'd asked her to step back, focus on family, support his career. Just for a few years, he'd promised, until the company's stable. That was 6 years ago. She opened the purse. Inside, her phone, her wallet, her keys, the pregnancy test in silver paper. She unwrapped it slowly. The paper crinkled loud in the quiet bathroom. 2 pink lines stared back at her. Positive. Pregnant, baby. Her hands shook. The test slipped from her fingers, hit the tile floor. The plastic clattered obscenely loud. Outside the stall, she heard other women, washing hands, fixing makeup, laughing, living in a world where husbands didn't divorce you on your anniversary, where pregnancy was still a miracle instead of unfortunate timing. Becca bent down, picked up the test, wrapped it back in the silver paper, put it back in her purse. Her phone buzzed. Text from Morgan Sullivan, her best friend since college, the one person who'd never liked Graham. "Babe, I need to tell you something about Graham. Call me, now." Becca stared at the message. The words blurred, refocused, blurred again. She knew. Morgan knew something, had known something. For how long? Another text. "Where are you? Are you still at dinner? Don't go home. I'm serious. Call me right now." Becca stood, looked at herself in the mirror above the sink. Emerald dress, perfect makeup, hair done. She looked like a woman celebrating her anniversary. She looked like someone whose husband loved her. She looked like a lie. Her phone rang, Morgan calling. Becca answered. "Where are you?" Morgan's voice was sharp, scared. "Bathroom, Meridian." "Is Graham still there?" "He left." Silence, then, "Oh God, Becca, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. I just didn't know how, and I kept hoping I was wrong, but I saw them together last week, and..." Them? Graham and his assistant, Stephanie, at the Regency. They were having lunch, and Becca, it wasn't a work lunch. He had his hand on her back. That thing he does, the circular motion, the exact same way he touches you. The bathroom spun. Becca gripped the edge of the sink. Marble. Cold. Real. How long have you known? 6 months, maybe 7. I wasn't sure at first. I thought maybe I was being paranoid. But then I saw them again. And again. And the way he looked at her. Morgan's voice cracked. I'm sorry, I should have said something. I was trying to figure out the right way to tell you, and then you got pregnant, and you were so happy, and I thought maybe it would stop. Maybe he'd end it when he found out about the baby, but Becca ended the call. 6 months. The baby was 6 months. He'd been cheating on her for as long as she'd been pregnant. Maybe longer. Maybe the whole time she was trying to get pregnant, tracking ovulation, taking temperatures, timing everything perfectly. Maybe there was never a perfect time. Maybe perfect was never real. She walked out of the bathroom, paid the check, $473. She left a $100 tip because the waiter looked sorry for her and she couldn't stand pity. The valet brought her car, white Mercedes. Graham gave it to her for their 3rd anniversary. You need something safe, he'd said, for when we have kids. The irony tasted like metal in her mouth. She sat in the driver's seat, engine off, hands on the steering wheel. The parking lot was full of expensive cars. Porsches, Teslas, Range Rovers, success, power, money. All of it empty. Her phone rang again. Not Morgan this time. Her father. Thomas Brennan didn't call at 9:30 on a Thursday night unless something was wrong. Becca answered. Dad? Princess. His voice was controlled, steady. The voice he used in boardrooms when he was about to destroy someone's quarterly earnings. Your mother and I are at the Regency, having dinner with the Harrisons. We just saw Graham with a young woman very familiar with each other. The world tilted, righted, tilted again. I know, Dad. You know? He divorced me tonight, at dinner, on our anniversary. Her voice didn't shake. That surprised her. And that young woman? Her name is Stephanie. She's his executive assistant. They've been sleeping together for 7 months. Since before I got pregnant. Since before everything. The silence on the other end was absolute. Then, stay where you are. Don't move. Don't go home. Don't do anything. Your mother is calling Richard Moss right now. I'll be there in 20 minutes. And sweetheart? Yeah? Graham Hartwell just made the biggest mistake of his life. Becca didn't wait for her father. She couldn't sit in the parking lot counting her breaths while her life disintegrated around her. She needed to move, needed to do something, needed to see the evidence with her own eyes because part of her still didn't believe it. Part of her would never believe it. She drove home on autopilot, through streets she knew by heart, past the coffee shop where Graham proposed, past the park where they had had their engagement photos taken, past the bakery that made their wedding cake. 5 years of memories on every corner, all of them pies. Their house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac in Huntington Heights. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, colonial style with white columns and black shutters. They'd bought it 2 years ago. Graham insisted on this neighborhood. Good schools, he'd said, for our kids. The driveway was empty. Graham's midnight blue Porsche was gone. Of course it was. He was probably with Stephanie right now, celebrating his freedom, his clean break, his symbolic fresh start. Becca parked, sat, stared at the house. Every light was off except the front porch. Graham hated wasted electricity. It's not about the money, he always said. It's about principle. Principle. The man who'd been cheating on his pregnant wife for 7 months was lecturing about principle. She got out of the car, unlocked the front door. The house smelled like vanilla candles. She'd bought them last weekend, trying to make this place feel like home. It never quite did. Too big, too cold, too much like a showroom from a magazine. Perfect on the outside, empty inside. Her phone buzzed. Morgan calling again. Becca ignored it. She climbed the stairs slowly, one hand on the railing, one hand on her stomach. The baby shifted, not kicking yet, just moving, reminding her she wasn't alone. Except she was. She was completely alone. Graham's office was on the 2nd floor. She'd been in there maybe a dozen times in 2 years. It was his space, his sanctuary. She wasn't supposed to bother him when he was working. The door was unlocked. His computer was still on. Graham never left his computer on. He was obsessive about security, passwords, encryption, privacy, sloppy. He'd gotten sloppy. Or maybe he wanted her to find out. Maybe this was his coward's way of ending things. Leave the evidence. Let her discover it. Avoid the confrontation. Becca sat in his leather chair. It still smelled like his cologne. Tom Ford. Oud Wood. $250 a bottle. She did what she hated, what she'd sworn she'd never do. She snooped. This wasn't checking his Amazon wish list for birthday ideas. This wasn't innocent curiosity about what he wanted for Christmas. This was the kind of snooping that changed everything, the kind where you already knew what you'd find, but you needed proof, needed it like oxygen. His email was open, inbox organized, color-coded. Graham coded everything, green for clients, blue for business partners, yellow for personal, red for important. There were 47 red emails, all from the same sender, Stephanie Marshall, executive assistant to the CEO. Becca clicked on the first one, dated 7 months ago, July. Graham, can't stop thinking about last night. When can we do it again? S. The second one, 6 months ago, August. I know this is complicated, but what we have is real. More real than anything else in my life. I've never felt this way before. S. The third one, 5 months ago, September. She suspects. We need to be more careful. I can't lose you. You're the only thing that makes sense anymore. S. She suspects. Becca closed the email, opened his text messages. The most recent conversation with Stephanie was from 2 hours ago, 7:15 p.m., right before their anniversary dinner. Graham, it's done, told her tonight. Stephanie, you're sure? No going back? Graham, no going back. Meet me at your place in an hour. We can finally stop hiding. Because Stephanie, I love you. Stephanie. I love you, Graham. Love you too. The phone slipped from Becca's hand, hit the mahogany desk. The screen cracked. Spiderweb patterns spreading across the glass like a mirror breaking. 7 years bad luck. She already had it. I'm not crazy. I'm not imagining things. This is real. This is happening. She said it out loud. Needed to hear the words. Needed them to be true. Because part of her still didn't believe it. The part that chose the emerald dress. The part that wrapped the pregnancy test in silver paper. The part that believed in 5 years of marriage vows and whispered promises and plans for the future. That part was dying messily, painfully, like something being torn out by the roots. Becca opened more emails, scrolled through months of messages, saw their relationship develop in real time, watched her husband fall in love with someone else while she was falling asleep next to him, while she was making him breakfast, while she was supporting his career and putting hers on hold and building a home and planning a family, while she was doing everything right. May, I know this is wrong, but I can't stay away from you. April, she's talking about starting IVF if we don't get pregnant naturally. I feel like a monster. March, you make me feel alive again, like I'm not us going through the motions. February, this was supposed to be a one-time thing. How did it become everything? 1 year. They'd been together at least a year, maybe longer. How had she not known? How had she not seen it? Except she had seen it. The late nights, the business trips, the phone calls he took in another room, the way he stopped asking about her day, the way he stopped touching her unless they were trying to get pregnant, the way he looked at her like she was a stranger. She'd seen it all. She'd just chosen to believe his explanations, chose to believe the company was demanding, chose to believe stress was normal, chose to believe marriage was hard work, and this was what hard work looked like. Chose to believe the lie because the truth was unthinkable. Her phone rang, not Morgan this time. Her father. She answered without thinking. Dad? Where are you? Home. Graham's office. Get out of there. Right now. Don't touch anything else. Your mother just called Richard Moss. He's the best divorce attorney in the state. He said not to do anything that could be used against you later. No destroying evidence. No confrontations. Nothing. I already found the evidence. Emails, text messages, 7 months at least, maybe a year, maybe longer. She heard her father take a breath, sharp, angry. I'm 5 minutes away. James is with me. Morgan's meeting us there. Don't move. Don't call Graham. Don't do anything. We're coming. He hung up. Becca sat in the quiet office. The computer screen glowed. Stephanie's emails filled the display. Evidence. Proof. Reality. She should feel something. Rage, maybe. Or grief. Or vindication. Instead, she felt empty, hollow, like someone had scooped out her insides and left nothing but a shell in an emerald dress. The baby moved. Stronger this time. Definite. Real. I'm sorry, Becca whispered. I'm so sorry. Sorry for choosing the wrong father. Sorry for not seeing the signs. Sorry for bringing a child into this wreckage. Sorry for believing in happily ever after. Headlights swept across the window. Car doors slammed. The front door opened. Becca? Her father's voice. Strong. Certain. The voice that closed billion-dollar deals. Up here. Footsteps on the stairs. Fast. Purposeful. Thomas Brennan appeared in the doorway. 64 years old, 6 feet tall, silver hair, custom suit even at 9 p.m. Behind him, James and her brother, 35, investment banker, already pulling out his phone. Show me, Thomas said. Becca gestured at the computer, at the evidence, at the truth in Times New Roman font. Her father read in silence. His jaw tightened with each email. When he finished, he turned to James. Pull everything you can find on Hartwell Technologies. Financial records, board members, investor relations, everything. Already on it, James said. His fingers flew across his phone screen. Company's valued at approximately $300 million. Graham owns 40%. His business partner, Andrew Mitchell, owns 40%. Remaining 20% divided among early investors. Who are the investors? Let me check. More typing. 7 total, 3 venture capital firms, 4 angel investors. I know 2 of them. Dad, you know one of them. Richard Lawson. You played golf with him last month. Thomas smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Call Richard. Tell him I need a meeting first thing tomorrow morning. Tell him I'm interested in making an investment. What kind of investment? The controlling kind. Becca looked at her father. Really looked at him. You want to buy Graham's company? I want to take everything he took from you and make him watch. Thomas's voice was cold, arctic, the voice he used when he was about to destroy a competitor. But only if that's what you want. This is your decision, princess, not mine, not your mother's, yours. More footsteps on the stairs. Claire Brennan swept into the room like a force of nature. 62 years old, diamonds at her throat, perfectly styled blonde hair, designer suit. She looked like she'd just come from a gallery opening, not an emergency family meeting. She walked straight to Becca, took her daughter's hands, said nothing, just held on. That's when Becca broke. Not with her father's rage, or her brother's facts, or Morgan's sympathy, with her mother's silence, with the simple act of being held. She cried, finally, the tears she'd been holding back all night, the grief and rage and disbelief all mixed together. 5 years of marriage dissolving in salt water and emerald silk. Claire held her, stroked her hair, let her cry. When the tears finally stopped, Claire said quietly, Brennans don't break, sweetheart. We break others. Morgan appeared in the doorway, out of breath, mascara running, still in her law firm suit. I got here as fast as I could. The traffic on the expressway was... She saw Becca's face. Oh, honey. She knows, Becca said. Her voice was raw. About Stephanie. I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. I was trying to figure out the right way and... How long? Morgan hesitated, looked at Thomas, at Claire, at James. 6 months, maybe 7. I wasn't sure at first. I kept hoping I was wrong. 7 months. Everyone kept saying 7 months. 7 months was when Becca got pregnant, when Graham finally agreed to start trying, when he'd been sweet and attentive and present for the first time in months, because he'd been thinking about Stephanie, because the guilt had made him temporarily kind. The math made her sick. What about the business? Thomas asked. Back to strategy, back to revenge. Is it solid or is it smoke and mirrors? James looked up from his phone. On paper, it's great. Stock price up 30% this year. New contracts with 3 major clients. Graham's been profiled everywhere. Forbes, Business Insider, Wall Street Journal. He's the golden boy of tech right now. On paper, Thomas repeated. What about reality? I did some digging last month after Becca mentioned Graham seemed stressed. James glanced at his sister, apologetic. The company's over-leveraged, massive debt load. They've been using new investment rounds to cover operational expenses. It's not sustainable long-term. A house of cards. A very pretty house of cards. But yes, Morgan spoke up. He's going to try to minimize the divorce settlement. Claim the company's assets are tied up. Offer her a fraction of what she's entitled to. Men like Graham always do. A new voice from the doorway. Let him try. Richard Moss, 56 years old, divorce attorney, shark. He'd represented Claire's sister in her divorce 5 years ago. Walked away with $70 million in full custody. I've been doing this for 30 years, Richard continued. Men like Graham Hartwell always make the same mistake. They think their wives are too fragile, too dependent, too scared to fight back. I'm not fragile, Wing, Becca heard herself say. Her voice was steady, strong, strange. I'm pregnant and betrayed and humiliated, but I'm not fragile. Thomas looked at her, pride in his eyes. No, you are Mola Brennan, and Brennans don't break. We break others. Becca stood, walked to the window. Outside, she could see the Hendersons' house across the street. Lights on in every room. They'd been married 40 years. Every Sunday morning, Mr. Henderson brought Mrs. Henderson coffee in bed. She knew this because Mrs. Henderson had told her once, proudly, like it was the secret to their success. Small rituals, small kindnesses, 40 years of accumulated small things. She and Graham had 5 years, and somewhere along the way, the small things stopped. When was the last time he'd brought her coffee? When was the last time he'd asked about her day? When was the last time he'd looked at her like she mattered? She couldn't remember. I want to destroy him. The words surprised her. She didn't know she was going to say them. Didn't know she felt them until they were out there, floating in the air between her and her family. Thomas didn't flinch. Legally or financially? Both. That's my girl. Claire squeezed her hand. Sweetheart, you're pregnant. You're emotional. Maybe we should think about this before. Don't. Becca turned from the window, faced her mother. Don't tell me I'm too emotional. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't tell me to think about the baby. I am thinking about the baby. My daughter deserves better than a father who thinks she's unfortunate timing. She deserves better than watching her mother be a doormat. She deserves to see what happens when someone betrays a Brennan. Silence. Then Claire smiled, actually smiled. There she is. I was wondering when you'd show up. Thomas set down the glass of water he'd been holding. Hartwell Technologies is valued at approximately $300 million. Graham owns 40%, Andrew Mitchell owns 40%. The remaining 20% is divided among early investors. If someone were to acquire a controlling interest, they could do anything they wanted with the company. Anything, James echoed, including fire the CEO. Becca's heart pounded. The baby kicked, strong, definite, like she was fighting too. You want to buy his company? I want to take everything he built and make him watch it crumble. But only if that's what you want. This is your choice. Outside, a car pulled into the driveway. Engine purring, expensive, Graham's Porsche. He was home. Graham Hartwell walked through his front door at 10:45 p.m. expecting an empty house. Maybe his wife crying in the bedroom. Maybe her car gone, staying at her parents' place. Maybe nothing at all. He did not expect to find his wife's entire family sitting in his living room. Thomas Brennan stood by the fireplace like he owned the place. Claire sat on the cream sofa, diamonds glittering at her throat. James leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Morgan perched on the arm of the chair, her lawyer face on. And Richard Moss, the most expensive divorce attorney in the state, occupied the wingback chair near the window. And Becca, standing in the center of it all in that emerald dress, hand on her stomach, looking at him like he was a stranger. What's going on? Graham's voice came out wrong, defensive. He cleared his throat, tried again. This is my house. You can't just... Actually, Richard Moss stood. This is marital property. Your wife has every right to be here. You, on the other hand, just abandoned her at a public restaurant on your 5th wedding anniversary while she's 6 months pregnant with your child. That's going to look phenomenal in court. Graham's jaw tightened. He looked at Becca. Only at Becca. Can we talk? Alone? This is between us. No. Her voice was flat, cold, a voice he'd never heard before. Anything you want to say, you can say in front of my family. This is ridiculous. We agreed to handle this civilly. You agreed, Becca interrupted. I was too busy being blindsided at our anniversary dinner to agree to anything. I told you I wanted a divorce. Clean, simple. We'll both move on. Find people who make us happy. This doesn't have to be ugly. With Stephanie? The name hung in the air like smoke. Graham's face went carefully blank. The expression he used in board meetings when someone asked a question he didn't want to answer. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't. The word came out sharp as glass. I've already read the emails, the text. 7 months, Graham. You've been sleeping with your executive assistant for 7 months, since before I got pregnant, since before you convinced me to quit my job to focus on starting our family, since before you bought me this house and this car and this dress and made me believe we were building something real. Every word I'm saying is true, but I still can't believe it. Like I'm watching myself in a movie. Like this is happening to someone else, but it's happening to me. It's real. This is my life. Graham ran his hand through his hair. Left hand, twice. Becca had seen him do it 1,000 times. In business meetings when a deal went south. In arguments when he knew he was wrong. It was his his moment of vulnerability before he regrouped and attacked. She watched him do it now. Watched him prepare his countermove. Becca, listen. No, you listen. Thomas's voice cut through the room like a blade. My daughter is 6 months pregnant with your child. You announced you wanted a divorce at your anniversary dinner 2 hours ago. You don't get to request anything, not respect, not privacy, not civility. You lost those privileges when you humiliated a Brennan. With all due respect, sir, this is between me and my wife. Ex-wife, Claire said quietly. Let's be clear about that. Graham turned to her, tried charm, the smile that won over investors. Mrs. Brennan, I understand you're upset, but this is a private matter between married people. I'm sure we can work this out without... This is marital property, Richard Moss repeated. And funny thing about marital property, half of it belongs to Becca, half of everything, the house, the cares, the investment accounts, the retirement funds, the stock options. Everything you've built in the last 5 years, half of it is hers. We'll negotiate a fair settlement. We'll devastate you, Claire said. She still hadn't raised her voice, didn't need to. That's what happens when you humiliate a Brennan. You learn exactly how much power you never had. Graham's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Couldn't help himself. A text from Stephanie, probably. Wondering where he was? Why he wasn't at her apartment celebrating his freedom. Is that her? Becca asked. Is Stephanie waiting for you? Did you tell her it went well? That I took it like a good little wife? That I'll sign whatever papers you put in front of me and disappear quietly so you can start your new life? She's not, we're not. Graham stopped. Regrouped. He was good at this, controlling the narrative, spinning the story. That's how he'd built his company. Words, promises, the right story at the right time. Look, I didn't plan for this to happen. Stephanie and I just connected. These things happen. It wasn't about you. You're a good person, Becca. You deserve someone who can give you what you need. Someone who can be present in ways I can't. This is better for everyone. Don't you dare, Morgan said. She'd been silent until now. Don't you dare make this about her not being enough. You cheated, you lied, you got her pregnant while sleeping with someone else. You're the problem. You're the failure. You're the one who wasn't enough. Graham's mask slipped. Just for a second, anger flashed across his face. You don't know anything about my marriage. I know you're a cheating bastard who left his pregnant wife on their anniversary. Morgan, Becca said softly, it's okay. It's not okay. None of this is okay. I know, but let me handle this. Becca turned back to Graham, looked at him fully. This man she'd married, this man she'd loved, this stranger in Tom Ford and $50,000 watches who just called their baby unfortunate timing. I'll contest the divorce, she said, each word clear and cold. I'll drag this out for years. I'll make sure every detail of your affair hits the press. Your reputation, the golden boy of tech, the Forbes profile, the Wall Street Journal feature, all gone. And your company, Hartwell Technologies, the one you built from nothing, the one you value more than your marriage? She looked at her father. Thomas nodded. We're going to buy it, Becca continued. My father is going to acquire a controlling interest in your company, and then he's going to fire you, and you'll have nothing. No wife, no family, no company, nothing. Graham laughed, actually laughed. You can't buy Hartwell Technologies, it's not for sale. Everything's for sale at the right price, Thomas said. And I've been buying companies since before you were born, son. I know exactly which investors to approach, exactly what to offer, exactly how to structure the deal. You've made enemies, Graham. People you've stepped on, burned, betrayed. They'll be happy to sell to me just to watch you fall. This is insane. You can't. This is consequences, Becca said. Her voice didn't shake anymore. The baby kicked, strong, furious. You wanted a clean break? Symbolic. Here's your symbol. You broke our marriage on our anniversary. We're going to break everything you built, and you're going to watch every second of it. Graham's phone buzzed again. This time he answered it. Not now, he said into the phone. But whoever was on the other end kept talking. His face changed, went pale. What do you mean the board called an emergency meeting? Who authorized that? When? He listened. His knuckles went white gripping the phone. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., that's impossible. I didn't. More listening. Fine, I'll be there. He hung up, looked at Thomas. What did you do? Thomas smiled. Not a nice smile, not a warm smile. The smile he used when he'd already won. I made 3 phone calls. Sometimes that's all it takes. Your board meets tomorrow at 8 a.m. I suggest you prepare a very good explanation for your 7-month affair with your executive assistant. Corporate governance tends to frown on CEOs who mix business with pleasure, creates liability, HR nightmares, bad optics for investors. You can't do this. You have no right. I have every right. I'm a potential investor. And investors get to ask questions about leadership, about judgment, about whether the CEO can be trusted to act in the company's best interest when he's clearly demonstrated catastrophically poor judgment in his personal life, though. This is blackmail. This is business. You should understand that. You're a businessman after all. Thomas picked up his coat. See you at the board meeting, Graham. 8 a.m. sharp, conference room A. Don't be late. He turned to Becca. Ready, princess? Yes. Becca walked past Graham without looking at him. The emerald dress swished against her legs. She could feel his eyes on her, could feel him wanting to say something. Some justification, some explanation, some last attempt to control the narrative. She didn't give him the chance. At the door, she paused, turned back. One more thing. I'm keeping the house. It's marital property and I'm pregnant. No judge will make me leave, so I suggest you find somewhere else to stay tonight. Maybe Stephanie's apartment, since you've been spending so much time there anyway. She walked out. Her family followed. Behind them, Graham stood alone in his perfect house with his perfect life crumbling around him. Outside, the November air was cold and sharp. Becca breathed it in, let it fill her lungs, let it wake her up from the nightmare that had been tonight. You okay? James asked. No, but I will be. Claire wrapped an arm around her. You were magnificent in there. I was angry. Sometimes anger is magnificent. Thomas opened the car door for her. We have a lot of work to do before tomorrow morning. Board meeting's at 8. I need to make some calls, line up support, get Richard Lawson on board, talk to the other investors. Can you really buy his company? Becca asked. I can. The question is, should I? Because once I do this, there's no going back. Graham will lose everything. His company, his reputation, his career, everything he's built. I need to know you're sure. I need to know this is what you want. Becca looked back at the house. All the lights were on now. Graham moving from room to room, probably calling his lawyer, probably calling Stephanie, probably trying to figure out how his perfect plan fell apart. She put her hand on her stomach, felt the baby move. I'm sure, she said, destroy him. Becca didn't go to her parents' house. She went back to the house in Huntington Heights, her house now. Graham had texted twice asking if he could come get some clothes. She'd ignored both messages. Richard Moss had been clear. Don't engage, don't respond. Everything goes through me from now on. You're not his wife anymore. You're the opposing party in a divorce proceeding. Act like it. So she did. She changed out of the emerald dress, hung it in the back of the closet where she'd never have to look at it again, put on sweatpants and one of her old college sweatshirts, washed off her makeup, took down her hair. In the mirror, she looked like herself again. Rebecca Brennan, not Rebecca Hartwell, not Graham's wife, just Becca, 32 years old, pregnant, alone, but not alone, never alone. She had her family, her real family, the ones who showed up. It was almost midnight when she heard the garage door open, Graham's car. She tensed, ready to call her father, but then she heard the engine start again. Reverse, leave. He'd come for clothes after all, while she was changing, while she was vulnerable. Coward. She went to the nursery instead. They'd painted it 3 weeks ago. Soft yellow, gender neutral, they'd agreed until they knew for sure. But the ultrasound tech had slipped. She's beautiful, she'd said, and then embarrassed. I mean, the baby is beautiful. A girl. They were having a girl. Becca had cried from happiness. Graham had squeezed her hand. All lies. Everything was lies. The crib sat in the corner, white with gold accents. Graham had put it together himself. Took him 6 hours and 3 YouTube videos. She'd watch from the doorway, thinking about how lucky she was, how blessed, how perfect their life was going to be, how stupid she'd been. Becca sat in the rocking chair, the one her mother used when Becca and James were babies, handed down through 3 generations of Brennan women. She rocked slowly. The chair creaked. The sound was familiar. Comforting, real. The baby shifted, not kicking, just moving, getting comfortable in the only home she'd ever known. I'm sorry, Becca whispered. I'm so sorry I picked the wrong father. I'm sorry I didn't see the signs. I'm sorry you're going to grow up with parents who hate each other. Except she didn't hate Graham. Not yet. She was still in that strange in-between space where the love hadn't quite turned to hate, where she was still mourning what she thought they had instead of raging at what he'd done. The hate would come later. It always did. She'd seen it happen with Claire's sister, with Morgan's mother, with every divorced woman she'd ever known. The love died slowly, painfully, and hate rushed in to fill the empty spaces. Her phone buzzed. Text from Graham. This is insane. Your father can't buy my company. I won't let him. We need to talk, rationally, like adults. Please. Delete. Another text, different number. Stephanie. I'm sorry you're hurting, but Graham and I love each other. Really love each other. You can't force someone to stay in a marriage that's over. Please, for everyone's sake, let him go. Becca stared at the message, read it 3 times. Let him go. Like he was hers to hold on to. Like she had any power in this situation. Like she was the one keeping them apart. He's not mine to let go. He left. He chose to leave. This isn't about forcing anything. This is about consequences. This is about showing him that actions have prices and betrayal costs everything. She typed a response. He was never yours to take, but I'm done fighting for him. You can have Graham. I hope he's worth what you're about to lose. Send. 3 dots appeared immediately. Stephanie typing. The dots disappeared, reappeared, disappeared. Finally, what does that mean? Becca didn't answer. Another text from Graham. I never wanted to hurt you. You have to believe that. This just happened, but we can still be civil. We can still co-parent. Don't let your father destroy my company. Please. That company is my life's work. It's everything I've built. You know how hard I've worked. You know what it means to me. She stared at the message. That company is my life's work. Not our marriage, not our family, not our daughter. The company. I was never enough. The marriage was never enough. I was just a phase, a box to check. Get married, have the family, build the image, and once he'd checked those boxes, once he'd extracted everything useful from me, I became disposable, replaceable. Unfortunate timing. She typed, "Your daughter is going to be born in 3 months, but you don't talk about her. You don't ask how I'm feeling. You don't ask if she's okay. You talk about your company, your life's work. So yes, we're going to destroy your life's work because that's what you value, Dee. That's what hurts you, and you need to hurt the way I'm hurting right now." Send. The response came immediately. "You're being emotional. Pregnancy hormones. You'll regret this when you calm down." Pregnancy hormones. Becca stood from the rocking chair, walked to the nursery closet, opened it. Inside, tiny clothes, onesies in pastel colors, pink, yellow, mint green, blankets her mother had made, stuffed animals from the baby shower 3 weeks ago, a mobile with stars and moons, a diaper bag already packed with newborn diapers and wipes and pacifiers. Everything ready, everything perfect, everything prepared for a baby whose father thought she was unfortunate timing. Graham had been so charming at that baby shower, joking with the guests, rubbing Becca's back when she got tired, playing the perfect expectant father. Everyone had commented on it. "He's going to be such a good dad. You're so lucky. What a great team you two make." While Stephanie waited at her apartment or a hotel, wherever they went to be together. Becca pulled out her phone, opened her email, found the baby shower photos Morgan sent last week, scrolled through them. There, Graham with his hand on her stomach, smiling at the camera, looking like a man who couldn't wait to be a father. Looking like a man in love with his wife, looking like a lie. She forwarded the photo to Stephanie. No message, just the image. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. "You're being cruel." Becca typed, "I'm being honest, that's his baby in that photo. His family, the one he's leaving, the one you're helping him destroy. But sure, I'm the cruel one." Send. Her phone rang, unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something in her, some instinct, made her click accept. "Mrs. Hartwell?" A woman's voice, professional, slightly familiar. "Who is this?" "This is Jennifer Marshall, Stephanie's older sister. We met briefly at your husband's holiday party last year. I need to talk to you in person tonight. It's urgent." "I don't think—" "My sister isn't who you think she is, and your husband isn't either. Neither of them are, please. I know it's late, but if you don't hear me out tonight, it might be too late tomorrow." Becca looked at the clock, 12:30 a.m. "Too late over what?" "To stop my sister from destroying everything. Your husband, his company, everything. She's been planning this for 18 months, and tomorrow morning she makes her final move." The nursery spun. Becca gripped the edge of the changing table. "What are you talking about?" "I can't explain over the phone, too risky. Can you meet me? There's an all-night diner on Route 9, Miller's. Do you know it?" "I know it. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Please come. Please. You need to see what I'm going to show you, because if you go into that board meeting tomorrow blind, everyone loses. Graham, the company, your father, everyone." She hung up. Becca stood in the silent nursery. The mobile rotated slowly above the crib, stars and moons spinning in an endless circle. Outside, the November wind rattled the windows. Cold coming. Winter on its way. She should call her father, call Richard Moss, call someone. Instead, she grabbed her keys. Miller's Diner sat on Route 9 between a gas station and a pawn shop. 24 hours. Truck stop clientele. The kind of place where nobody asked questions. Becca parked under a streetlight, locked her car, walked in. The diner was nearly empty. A tired waitress refilled coffee at the counter. A truck driver hunched over eggs and hash browns. And in the back booth, a woman waved. Jennifer Marshall looked nothing like her sister. Where Stephanie was petite and delicate, Jennifer was tall, angular, practical. Short dark hair, no makeup, jeans and a sweater. She looked like a high school teacher or a social worker. Someone serious, someone real. Becca slid into the booth across from her. You said 18 months. No greeting, no small talk. I like that. Jennifer pushed a manila folder across the table. Before you open this, you need to understand something. My sister isn't sleeping with your husband because she loves him. She's destroying him, systematically, methodically. And she's been planning it since before she even applied for the job. Why would she do that? 3 years ago, Stephanie dated your husband's business partner, Andrew Mitchell. He broke up with her publicly at a company event, some holiday party, made her look like a fool in front of everyone, humiliated her. She's never forgiven him, and she's incapable of letting things go. Becca opened the folder. Inside, printed emails, financial records, screenshots of text messages, not between Graham and Stephanie, between Stephanie and someone named Marcus. She read the first one, dated 4 months ago. Stephanie, phase 3 complete. He's completely dependent on me now. Trust me with everything. Financial access, company secrets, personal details about his wife. He thinks I love him. Pathetic. Marcus, when do you make your move? Stephanie, soon. I need him to leave his wife first. Messy divorce. Public. That way, when everything else comes out, he has nothing to fall back on. No support system, no family, just me. And then I'll take everything and leave him exactly where Andrew left me. Broken and alone. Becca's hands shook. The pages rustled. Who's Marcus? Her therapist, who she's also sleeping with, who's also helping her plan this entire thing because he's as damaged as she is. He lost his license in California for having inappropriate relationships with patients. Moved here, started over. Met my sister 2 years ago. They're perfect for each other, both completely lacking in empathy. This is insane. This is Stephanie. She's brilliant and ruthless and completely unhinged when it comes to revenge. Jennifer pulled out more documents. She's been embezzling from Hartwell Technologies for 6 months. Small amounts through fake vendor accounts. Untraceable unless you know what to look for. It adds up to over $2 million so far. The diner tilted. Becca gripped the edge of the table. Formica. Cold. Real. Does Graham know? No, he's completely blind. He thinks she loves him. He thinks this is real. He has no idea he's being set up for the biggest fall of his life. Why are you telling me this? Because you're pregnant. Because despite everything your husband did, your baby deserves a father who isn't completely destroyed. And because, Jennifer looked down at her coffee, because my sister is sick, mentally ill, and I can't stop her. I've tried, but she won't listen to me. She never has. And tomorrow morning, she's going to finish what she started. The board meeting. She requested the time change, moved it to 7 a.m. instead of 8. Said it was urgent. She's going to beat your father there. She's going to present her own evidence, her own story, where she's the victim and Graham's the predator. The CEO who coerced his young female assistant into a sexual relationship. The power imbalance, the harassment, the pregnancy lie. Pregnancy lie. She's going to claim he got her pregnant, that he demanded she get an abortion. That when she refused, he fired her and started this whole campaign to destroy her reputation. Jennifer slid another document across the table. She has fake medical records, fake text messages, everything she needs to make it believable. And when the board hears it, when the media gets hold of it, Graham's career is over. The company's reputation is destroyed, stock price crashes, lawsuits pile up, everything collapses. And then she disappears with $2 million. Exactly. Becca read through more messages, watched Stephanie's plan unfold in real time, saw the manipulation, the calculation, the complete lack of conscience. Why would she do this? Just for revenge? You'd have to ask Marcus. He's the therapist. But if I had to guess, Andrew Mitchell broke something in her, some fundamental sense of self-worth. And instead of healing, she turned it into rage, focused it, weaponized it. Graham was just collateral damage. He happened to be Andrew's business partner. He happened to be vulnerable. He happened to be there. Becca closed the folder. What do you want me to do with this? Whatever you think is right. You're the one he hurt. You're the one carrying his child. You decide how this ends. I'm just giving you the information. What you do with it, that's up to you. Jennifer stood, left $40 on the table. The board meeting's at 7 a.m. Stephanie will be there by 6:30. She likes to be early, likes to control the room. If you're going to do something, you need to do it before then. Once she starts talking, once she tells her version of events, it'll be too late to stop the damage. Why did you hack her laptop? Why go to all this trouble? Because she's my sister, and despite everything, I love her. And watching her destroy herself along with everyone else, I can't just stand by and let it happen, even if she hates me for it later. Jennifer's voice cracked, maybe especially because she'll hate me for it. She walked out. Becca sat alone in the diner, the folder in front of her. Evidence, truth. The power to save Graham or let him burn. She should feel vindicated, should feel satisfied. Graham wasn't just a cheater. He was a victim too, a stupid, blind, arrogant victim who destroyed his marriage for a lie. She should feel something. Instead, she felt empty. Her phone buzzed. Text from her father. Board meeting moved to 7 a.m. Stephanie Marshall requested the time change. Said it was urgent. Graham doesn't know yet. Something's wrong. Call me. Outside, the sky was turning gray. Dawn coming. In a few hours, everything would either end or begin. Becca looked at the folder, at the evidence, at the choice. She could save Graham, show him the truth. Stop Stephanie's plan. Protect the company. Be the bigger person. Or she could let it burn. Let him face the consequences of his choices. Let him lose everything the way she'd lost at everything. Brennan or Hartwell, mercy or revenge. The woman she was or the woman she was becoming. She picked up her phone, called her father. I'm on my way to you. Don't go to the board meeting yet. We need to talk. I know what Stephanie's planning. And Dad? It's worse than we thought. So much worse. Thomas Brennan's home office looked like a war room. James had 3 laptops open, pulling financial records. Richard Moss reviewed documents on his tablet. Claire made phone calls from the corner, her voice low and urgent. And Becca sat in the center of it all with Jennifer Marshall's folders spread across the mahogany desk. It was 5:30 in the morning. The board meeting was in 90 minutes. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, Thomas said. He'd read through every document twice. Stephanie Marshall has been running a long-term revenge operation against Andrew Mitchell and collaterally against Graham. She's embezzled $2.3 million. She's planning to accuse Graham of sexual coercion and forced abortion. And she has fake evidence to support her claims. That's the summary, Becca confirmed. And her sister gave you this information because she's worried Stephanie will destroy herself in the process of destroying everyone else. Yes. James looked up from his laptop. I've been digging into Marcus Levine, former therapist, lost his California license for sleeping with patients, moved to New York 3 years ago, set up a private practice in Manhattan. No complaints filed yet, but based on these messages, he's violating every ethical standard in the book. Can we use that? Claire asked. Depends. If we expose him, we expose Stephanie's plan, but it also means going public with psychiatric records and private communications. Legally gray area. Richard Moss set down his tablet. Here's what I recommend. We go to the board meeting, we let Stephanie present her case, we record everything. Then we present the counter evidence, her embezzlement, her conspiracy with Marcus, her fake medical records. We destroy her credibility before she can destroy Graham's. That's risky, Thomas said. Once she makes her accusations public, the damage is done. Even if we prove she's lying, the story's out there. Graham's reputation takes a hit. But if we preempt her, if we go in accusing her first, we look vindictive, like we're trying to silence a sexual harassment victim. The optics are terrible. They were right. Both strategies had risks. Both could backfire. Becca looked at the folder, at Stephanie's carefully laid plans, at 18 months of manipulation and lies and calculated destruction. Graham deserved this. He'd cheated. He'd lied. He'd called their baby unfortunate timing. He'd destroyed their marriage without a second thought. But did he deserve to be falsely accused of sexual coercion? Did he deserve to have his entire company destroyed based on lies? Did their daughter deserve to grow up with a father whose reputation was completely annihilated? "What do you want to do, Princess?" Thomas asked. "This is your call. We'll support whatever you decide. But you need to choose. Save Graham or let him burn. There's no middle ground here." Becca closed her eyes, felt the baby move. Steady, strong, real. What kind of world did she want her daughter born into? A world where her mother was vindictive and cruel? Or a world where her mother was strong enough to tell the truth even when it was hard? What kind of woman did she want to become? She opened her eyes. "We save him, not because he deserves it, not because I forgive him, but because the truth matters more than revenge. And our daughter deserves to know her mother chose truth over cruelty." Thomas smiled, proud. "That's my girl." "But," Becca continued, "we do this on our terms. Graham loses the CEO position. That's non-negotiable. He demonstrated catastrophically poor judgment. He violated company policy. He earned that consequence. But we don't let Stephanie destroy him with lies. We expose the truth, all of it. His affair, her embezzlement, everything." "Agreed, agreed," Richard said. "I'll make sure we have legal representation for Graham at the meeting. He's going to need it." "And after?" Claire asked. "After the board meeting? After Stephanie's exposed? What happens to your marriage?" "The marriage is over. That doesn't change. Graham betrayed me. He chose someone else. He broke what we had, but I'm not going to let a sociopath destroy him in the process. There's a difference between consequences and cruelty." James closed his laptop. "We need to leave in 30 minutes if we're going to beat Stephanie there. I'll drive." "I'm coming too," Becca said. "You don't have to," Thomas said gently. "This could get ugly." "I know, but I need to see his face. I need to watch him realize that I saved him, that I'm the one who stopped his complete destruction. I need him to know that I was strong enough to choose truth over revenge." Claire squeezed her hand. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." They arrived at Hartwell Technologies at 6:15. The building was dark except for the 7th floor. Executive offices, conference rooms. The board of directors would gather there in 45 minutes to decide Graham Hartwell's fate. Becca sat in her car, watched employees arrive. Young, ambitious, hustling into the building with coffee cups and laptops and dreams of success. None of them knew what was about to happen. None of them knew their company was imploding from the inside. The baby kicked, hard. "I know," Becca whispered. "I'm scared too." Her father tapped on the window. She got out. "You don't have to do this," Thomas said. "You can wait in the car. We'll handle it." "No, I need to see this through." They walked into the building together. The receptionist recognized Thomas immediately. "Mr. Brennan, you're early. Conference room A won't be set up until 6:30. "That's fine, we'll wait." The elevator ride was silent. Becca watched the numbers climb. 3, 4, 5. Each floor a heartbeat. Each heartbeat a decision she couldn't take back. The elevator opened on 7. The conference room was already occupied. Stephanie Marshall sat at the head of the table. Laptop open. Documents spread out. Prepared. Confident. Beautiful in a Navy suit that probably cost more than she could afford on an executive assistant's salary. Embezzlement money buys nice things. She looked up when they entered. Her face went perfectly blank. Not surprised, not worried, just calculating, adjusting, adapting. "Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Hartwell, you're early." "So are you," Thomas said. "I like to be prepared." "I'm sure you do." Graham arrived at 6:30. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes. Suit rumpled. Hair uncombed. This wasn't the polished CEO from the Forbes profile. This was a man who had slept in his car or not slept at all. He saw Becca first. Surprise. Hope. "Becca, I didn't think you'd come." "I came to watch." "Watch what?" "You face consequences." The board members filed in. Gerald Morrison, 3 venture capital representatives, 2 angel investors, including Richard Lawson, Andrew Mitchell looking grim. At exactly 7 a.m., Gerald called the meeting to order. "Thank you all for coming on short notice. We're here to discuss serious allegations regarding CEO conduct. Ms. Marshall has requested to address the board first. Stephanie? Stephanie stood, smoothed her skirt, looked directly at Graham with tears in her eyes. Real tears, or fake ones. It was impossible to tell. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. What I'm about to say is extremely difficult. But the board needs to know the truth about Graham Hartwell's conduct as CEO. She took a breath, steadied herself. 8 months ago, Mr. Hartwell began making inappropriate advances toward me. As his executive assistant, I felt unable to refuse. The power dynamic, the risk to my career, the fear of retaliation. I tried to keep it professional, but he was persistent. Graham shot to his feet. That's not true. That's not what happened. We had a consensual relationship. Please let Ms. Marshall finish, Gerald said. 6 months ago, the relationship became physical. He assured me he loved me, that he would leave his wife, that we would be together. I believed him. Tears rolled down her cheeks. 3 months ago, I discovered I was pregnant. The room went silent. When I told Mr. Hartwell, he was furious. He said it would ruin everything. He demanded I get an abortion. I refused. He threatened to fire me, to destroy my reputation, to make sure I never worked in this industry again. So I agreed. I scheduled the procedure. But the night before, I couldn't go through with it. I called him, told him I couldn't do it. And that's when everything changed. She pulled out a folder. I started documenting everything. Every inappropriate text, every demand, every threat, because I knew he would try to destroy me. And he did. Last week, he filed divorce papers with his wife, made up a story about an affair, about me being the other woman, when the truth is I was his victim. And his wife, she's been dragged into this nightmare through no fault of her own. Stephanie looked at Becca. Mrs. Hartwell, I'm so sorry. You deserve so much better than this. The performance was flawless. Every word perfectly calibrated. Every emotion precisely performed. If Becca didn't know the truth, if she didn't have Jennifer's evidence, she would have believed every word. But she did know, and it was time. Becca stood. See him. That was a very compelling story, Stephanie. You're clearly talented, but here's what actually happened. She nodded at Thomas. He slid a folder across the table. 3 years ago, you dated Andrew Mitchell. He ended the relationship poorly. You decided to get revenge, not just on Andrew, on the entire company. You engineered your hiring 18 months ago. You seduced Graham. You manipulated him into leaving his wife. And you've been embezzling money the entire time. Stephanie's mask slipped, just for a second. That's ridiculous. I would never. You've stolen $2.3 million through fake vendor accounts. You've conspired with Marcus Levine, your therapist and co-conspirator. And you're not pregnant. You never were. The medical records you're about to present are forgeries. I don't know what you're talking about. Your sister does. Jennifer gave us everything, emails, text messages, financial records. She's willing to testify. And before you try to discredit her, the FBI's Financial Crimes Division is already reviewing your accounts. That was a bluff. James had suggested it. She won't know if it's true until it's too late. Stephanie's face went white. My sister wouldn't betray me. Your sister loves you. That's why she's trying to stop you from destroying yourself. 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Behind them, Richard Moss. Ms. Marshall, you're being detained pending criminal charges of embezzlement, fraud, and corporate espionage. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. For a moment, Stephanie sat frozen. Then she exploded, screaming, raging, lunging at Graham across the table. This is your fault. You and Andrew. You destroyed me. You humiliated me. You deserved everything I did to you. The guards restrained her. She fought, screamed, clawed. I was going to ruin you. I was going to take everything. You were going to lose everything and watch and suffer, and they dragged her out. Her voice echoed down the hallway, fading, finally silent. The conference room was absolutely still. Graham sat white-faced, trembling, staring at nothing. Gerald Morrison cleared his throat. Mr. Hartwell, while Ms. Marshall's accusations were false, the evidence of your affair is not. You engaged in a relationship with a subordinate. You violated company policy. You exercised catastrophically poor judgment, and you created significant liability for this company. I know. The board has discussed your future. We're requesting your resignation effective immediately. Graham nodded. He'd known this was coming. I understand. Mr. Mitchell will serve as interim CEO while we conduct a search for permanent leadership. Andrew spoke for the first time. I'll do my best to stabilize the situation. Reassure clients, maintain operations. Gerald turned to Thomas. Mr. Brennan, I understand you're interested in making an investment in Hartwell Technologies. I am, pending some changes to leadership and operations. But yes, I believe this company has potential, under the right management. We'll be in touch. The meeting adjourned. Graham stood slowly, looked at Becca. You saved me. You didn't have to, but you did. I didn't save you. I told the truth. There's a difference. Why? After everything I did, why would you? Because our daughter deserves a father who isn't destroyed by lies. She deserves the truth. Even when the truth is ugly, even when the truth is that you betrayed me, at least it's true. She turned to leave. Becca, wait. Can we talk, please, 5 minutes? She looked at him. This man she'd loved. This stranger who'd destroyed everything. No, everything else goes through our lawyers. Goodbye, Graham. She walked out. Behind her, Graham collapsed into his chair, put his head in his hands. A broken man in a broken room, surrounded by the wreckage of his own choices. Becca felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just empty. But emptiness was better than rage. Emptiness was better than cruelty. Emptiness was a place to start building something new. Becca drove herself to the beach house, her family's summer place. Empty this time of year. Cold, but hers. A place Graham had never been. A place untainted by his presence. She unlocked the door. The house smelled like salt and old wood and childhood memories. She was 8 years old when her parents bought this place. James was 5. They spent every July here, swimming, building sandcastles, running from waves, before marriage, before betrayal, before everything got complicated. The kitchen still had the pencil marks on the doorframe, height measurements. Becca at 8, 9, 10, James at 5, 6, 7, growing up, getting taller, time passing in pencil lines. She made coffee, decaf, pregnancy rules. Sat on the porch facing the ocean. November meant cold wind and gray water and empty beach. Perfect. Her phone buzzed constantly. She ignored it. Let the calls go to voicemail. Let the texts pile up unanswered. Finally, she looked. Graham, we need to talk. Please. I know I don't deserve anything, but please just talk to me. Graham, I'm sorry. I know that's not enough, but I'm sorry. I was stupid, blanant, arrogant, everything you think I am and worse. Graham, I lost our marriage because I was too weak to fight for it, too distracted by someone who was lying to me from the beginning. But that's not an excuse, it's just the truth. Graham, the baby, our daughter, can we at least talk about her, about how to do this right? I want to be a father, a real father. Please give me that chance. Morgan, babe, where are you? Your mom is freaking out. Call me. Her mother, Princess, please call. We need to know you're safe. James, Dad's hiring security. Just in case Stephanie has accomplices. Call us. Andrew Mitchell, Mrs. Hartwell, this is Andrew. I need you to know that I had no idea what was happening. If I'd known about the affair, about any of it, I would have told you. I'm sorry I failed you, and I'm sorry my past with Stephanie set all of this in motion. Delete, 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 delete. She sat watching the ocean, the waves pounded against the shore. Relentless, unchanging. The ocean was here before her, would be here after her, constant in a way nothing else was. The baby moved, shifted, settled. What do I do? Becca asked out loud. Asked the ocean, asked the empty air, asked her daughter who couldn't answer. What do I do now? Everything I thought I knew was wrong. My marriage was wrong. My life was wrong. My choices were wrong. But this baby, she's real. She's mine. And she's coming in 3 months, whether I'm ready or not. Am I ready? No. God, no. I'm a mess. I'm broken. I'm sitting on a freezing porch talking to myself about how to raise a daughter alone. But I'm not alone. I have my parents, my brother, Morgan. I have people who actually love me, not people who lie and use and manipulate, people who show up, people who stay. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that has to be enough. Her phone rang, Graham calling. Against every instinct, she answered. Becca. His voice was wrecked, raw. Thank God, I've been trying to reach you for hours. Where are you? Somewhere you're not. Can we please talk? Face to face, I need to explain. Explain what? How you fell for a sociopath? How you destroyed our marriage for someone who hated you? How you left me at a restaurant on our anniversary while I was carrying your child? Silence. Graham, there's nothing left to explain. It's over. The marriage is over. Your company is over. We're done. But the baby has a mother who will protect her, who will love her, who will never make her feel like she's unfortunate timing. Whether she has a father depends entirely on whether you can become someone worth knowing. And right now, you're not. I deserved better than you. I deserved honesty. I deserved loyalty. I deserved a partner who chose me every day, not just until someone younger came along. And our daughter deserves a father who shows up, who stays, who puts her first. So prove you can be that person. Or stay gone. She hung up. The ocean pounded, the wind blew. The sky turned from gray to darker gray. Storm coming. Becca stood, walked down to the beach, took off her shoes, let her bare feet sink into the cold sand. Professional clothes and bare feet. Ridiculous. But it felt right. She walked to the water's edge, let the foam wash over her toes. Freezing, shocking, alive. Behind her, the beach house. Her family's legacy, safety, love, summers that shaped her. Ahead of her, the ocean, unknown, vast, terrifying and beautiful in equal measure. She had to choose which direction to face, backward or forward, past or future, who she was or who she could be. Her phone rang, Gerald Morrison. Mr. Hartwell, I apologize for calling directly, but the board has met again. Emergency session. We've reviewed everything that happened, everything your father discovered, and we have a proposal for you, a significant one. May I have 15 minutes of your time? I'm listening. Not over the phone. This needs to be done properly. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.? What kind of proposal? The kind that could change your life. The kind that turns disaster into opportunity. The kind that proves betrayal isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter. Becca looked at the ocean, at the endless possibility of it, and I'll be there. Thank you, Ms. Hartwell. Or should I say Ms. Brennan? I have a feeling we'll be working together for a long time. He hung up. Becca stood at the water's edge as the sun set, pink and orange and purple, streaking across gray clouds. Beautiful despite everything. Beautiful because of everything. She put her hand on her stomach, felt her daughter move. We're going to be okay, she whispered. I don't know how yet, but we're going to be okay. And for the first time since Graham said I want a divorce, she believed it. Gerald Morrison's office occupied the top floor of a building in the financial district. Floor-to-ceiling windows, mahogany furniture, original artwork. Success decorated with money. He stood when Becca entered, extended his hand. Miss Brennan, thank you for coming. Brennan, she noted, not Hartwell. I think we both know that marriage is over. No point in pretending otherwise. Andrew Mitchell sat in one of the leather chairs. He stood too. Mrs. Hartwell, I mean Miss Brennan, I'm glad you're here. Two other board members occupied the sofa. Becca recognized them from the emergency meeting. Venture capital, money people. They looked at her with assessment, calculation, wondering what she was worth to them. Please sit, Gerald said. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water? Water, thank you. He poured from a crystal decanter, handed her the glass, sat across from her. I'll be direct. Hartwell Technologies is in crisis. Our CEO resigned in scandal. Our executive assistant was arrested for embezzlement and fraud. Our reputation is damaged. Our clients are nervous, and we need leadership. Fast, decisive, competent. That's unfortunate, Becca said, but I'm not sure why you're telling me. Because 6 years ago, before you married Graham Hartwell, you were Rebecca Brennan, VP of Marketing at Brennan Industries. You built your father's company's marketing division from 3 people to 50. You pioneered the digital strategy that tripled revenue in 2 years. You were profiled in Business Week as a marketing genius under 30. That was a long time ago. It was 6 years ago. You're 32, still under 40, still brilliant, still capable of everything you did then and more. I gave that up. I chose family. And your husband threw that choice in your face, Andrew said quietly. I'm not going to pretend Graham and I are still friends. We're not. But I knew his wife was brilliant and he was lucky to have her. And I watched him waste that. Waste you. I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. What are you asking me? Gerald leaned forward. We want to offer you a consulting position. Temporary. 3 months. Rebuild our reputation. Reassure our clients. Develop a new marketing strategy. Show the world that Hartwell Technologies is more than one man's failure. I'm 6 months pregnant. Remote work until then, flexible hours, whatever you need, and the position extends after your maternity leave if you want it to. You're offering me a job at my ex-husband's company. We're offering you a job at your company, Andrew corrected. Your father now owns 30%. He's our largest single investor, and he suggested we talk to you. He said, and I quote, "My daughter is the smartest person I know. If you want to save that company, you hire her, not because she's my daughter, because she's the best." The room went quiet. Outside, the city hummed, taxis, sirens, construction, life continuing while hers balanced on a knife's edge. What's the compensation? 200,000 for 3 months, plus equity options, plus a seat on the board after your daughter is born, if you want it. $200,000. Equity, a board seat, everything she'd given up. Offered back. Not because of Graham, in spite of Graham. I have conditions. Name them. 1, Graham Hartwell has no access to me, no meetings, no emails, no communication except through lawyers regarding custody arrangements. If he enters a room I'm in, he leaves. Not me. Him. Done. 2, I report directly to the board. Not to Andrew, not to interim management. Directly to you, Gerald. Nobody second guesses my decisions. Nobody undermines my authority. I'm not the CEO's ex-wife. I'm a consultant with full autonomy. Agreed. 3, if I do this, if I save your company's reputation, when my 3 months are up, you offer me the CMO position, permanent, with full executive compensation, with my name on the door, with the respect I earned 6 years ago and gave up for a marriage that was already dying. Gerald and Andrew exchanged glances. Gerald nodded. CMO position, guaranteed, 18 months after you start, gives you time to prove yourself and have your maternity leave. But I'll be honest, Ms. Brennan, based on your track record, you won't need 18 months to prove anything. Becca stood, walked to the window. The city spread below. Millions of people living millions of lives. Some happy, some broken, all trying to figure out how to keep going. She saw a family on the street, parents and 2 small children, the father carrying one child on his shoulders, the mother holding the other's hand. They were laughing about something, happy, together. Once upon a time, she'd thought she'd have that, thought she and Graham would be those parents, would raise their daughter in love and safety and joy. That future was gone, but maybe a different future was possible. Maybe better was possible. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm not doing this to hurt Graham. I'm doing this because I forgot who I was. I let someone else's needs become more important than my own. I made myself smaller to make him feel bigger. And I'm done with that. I'm done being small. She turned from the window. I'll start Monday. Send me the contracts. And gentlemen, when I'm done, Hartwell Technologies won't just survive this scandal. It will thrive because of it. That's a promise. They stood, shook hands, professional, clean, equal. After they left, Becca sat alone in Gerald's office. The city glittered below. Possibilities stretched as far as she could see. Her phone buzzed. Text from her father. I'm proud of you, princess. Always have been. But I'm especially proud of you right now. Love, Dad. She didn't cry, didn't break down, didn't collapse. Instead, she opened her laptop, began researching Hartwell Technologies, client list, revenue streams, marketing history, competitive landscape. She had 3 months to rebuild a company, 3 months before her daughter arrived, 3 months to prove she was more than Graham Hartwell's discarded wife, 3 months to become Rebecca Brennan again. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Rebecca Brennan? A woman's voice. Professional. Familiar. This is Jennifer Walsh from Business Week. We met 6 years ago when I profiled you as a marketing genius under 30. I remember. I heard about what happened with Graham Hartwell, and I heard you're joining Hartwell Technologies. I'd love to do a follow-up profile. The woman who rebuilt what her ex-husband destroyed. What do you say? Becca smiled, actually smiled, for the first time in days. Let's do it. 3 months passed like water through fingers, fast, relentless, transformative. Becca moved permanently to the beach house, commuted to Hartwell Technologies 3 days a week, worked remotely the other two. Her father offered to let her stay at the estate. She declined. She needed her own space, her own place, somewhere Graham had never been. The turnaround was working, better than working, thriving. Her first move, rebrand the executive team. New photos, new bios, diverse faces, women, people of color, real people with real stories. No more pictures of Graham dominating every page. Second move, client outreach. Personal calls to every major account. Not apologizing, not making excuses, just acknowledging the crisis and outlining the path forward. Honesty, transparency, respect. 3 clients threatened to leave. She convinced all 3 to stay. 2 clients actually increased their contracts after talking to her. Third move, the Business Week profile. Jennifer Walsh wrote it beautifully. From betrayed wife to business savior, Rebecca Brennan's remarkable comeback. The article went viral, shared 50,000 times in the first week. Stock price jumped 15%. Phone calls from potential clients. Interest from investors. Suddenly, Hartwell Technologies wasn't the company with the cheating CEO. It was the company with the brilliant consultant who turned disaster into opportunity. By month 2, 3 new clients signed on. Major contracts, enough to offset the Stephanie-induced damage, and then some. By month 3, the board made the CMO position official. Not in 18 months, now. They wanted her locked in, committed, part of the leadership team. Becca negotiated hard. Executive compensation, stock options, maternity leave with full pay, on-site childcare when she returned. She got everything she asked for. Graham tried to reach out twice. Both times Richard Moss shut him down. All communication goes through me. That was the agreement. But last week, Graham sent a letter, physical letter, to the beach house. Richard couldn't intercept it. Becca let it sit on the kitchen counter for 3 days before opening it. Dear Becca, I know I have no right to write to you. I know you don't want to hear from me, but our daughter is going to be born any day now, and I need you to know something. I was wrong about everything. About Stephanie, about our marriage, about you. I was so focused on building my company that I forgot to build our life. I took you for granted. I assumed you'd always be there. I assumed I could have everything, success and family and whatever else I wanted. I was arrogant, stupid, cruel. Stephanie didn't destroy me. I destroyed myself. I chose to believe her lies because they were easier than facing the truth. I wasn't the man I pretended to be. I wasn't the husband you deserved. I wasn't ready for the family we were building. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for another chance. I'm just asking for the opportunity to be a father. Not because I deserve it, but because our daughter deserves to have a father who shows up, who tries, who doesn't repeat my mistakes. I've been in therapy for 2 months, working on myself, understanding why I made the choices I did. It doesn't excuse anything, but maybe someday it will help me be the person our daughter needs. I know you're thriving without me. I read the Business Week article. I'm not surprised. You were always the brilliant one. I just refused to see it. But I see it now. I see you. And I'm sorry I wasted so much time being blind. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it. If you want me gone, I'm gone. If you want me involved, I'll do whatever it takes to earn that privilege. Your daughter is lucky to have you. I was lucky to have you. I just didn't realize it until it was too late. Graham Becca sat on the porch, the letter in her hand, the ocean in front of her. February, still cold. But spring was coming. She could feel it. She was 9 months pregnant now. Any day, any moment. Her hospital bag sat by the front door. Her mother was on standby. Morgan had cleared her schedule. Everything was ready except Becca's heart. Does she let Graham be a father? Does she give him that chance? Does she risk her daughter being disappointed by a man who's already proven he disappoints? Or does she protect her daughter from that risk? Keep Graham at a distance. Let him be the every other weekend dad. The birthday card and Christmas present dad. I don't know what's right. I don't know if there is a right. All I know is my daughter deserves better than what I had. Better than a father who's there but not present. Better than parents who stay together out of obligation. Better than a family held together by resentment. If Graham can be a real father, present and consistent and committed, then she deserves that. But if he can't, if he's going to drift in and out whenever it's convenient, then she's better off without him. I get to decide. That's the power I have now. I get to set the terms. I get to protect my daughter. I get to choose what kind of family we'll be. Her phone buzzed. Dr. Wells. Rebecca, you need to come to the hospital. You're having contractions, regular contractions. You're in early labor and don't realize it. Come in now. Don't wait. Becca stood, looked down. Her water broke. Right there on the porch, soaking through her sweatpants, pooling on the wood. Oh, she said out loud. Oh. She called her mother. Mom, it's time. I'm on my way. Don't move. Don't drive. I'm 15 minutes away. But Becca didn't wait. Couldn't wait. She grabbed her hospital bag, got in her car, drove herself. The hospital was 20 minutes away. The contractions hit every 8 minutes, then every 6, then every 4. She parked crooked in the emergency lot, walked through the sliding doors. I'm Rebecca Hartwell. I'm in labor. A nurse materialized with a wheelchair. We've been expecting you. Dr. Wells called ahead. Let's get you upstairs. The labor and delivery floor was calm, controlled, professional. They got her into a room, into a gown, into bed. Doctor, Wells checked her. 7 centimeters. You're moving fast. First babies usually take longer, but your daughter has other plans. My mother is in the waiting room. We'll bring her back between contractions. And Graham, did anyone call him? Dr. Wells paused. Do you want us to? Becca closed her eyes. Another contraction building. Breathe, count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Her daughter was coming, right now, today, in the next few hours. Does Graham get to be here for her birth, for the single most important moment of their daughter's life? He doesn't deserve it, hasn't earned it. But maybe that's not the question. Maybe the question is, what does her daughter deserve? Yes, Becca said finally. Call him. Tell him his daughter is being born. Tell him if he wants to meet her, he has 2 hours to get here. The next 90 minutes blurred. Contractions, breathing, pushing, pain that felt impossible. Her mother holding one hand, Morgan holding the other. Doctor. Wells coaching. One more push, Rebecca. I can see her head. One more. Becca pushed, screamed, surrendered to the overwhelming force of bringing life into the world. And then, a cry. Small, angry, perfect. It's a girl, healthy, beautiful. 10 fingers, 10 toes. They placed the baby on Becca's chest. Warm, wet, alive. Charlotte Rebecca Hartwell. Hi, Becca whispered. I'm your mom, and I promise you I'm going to be enough. I'm going to love you enough for 2 parents. I'm going to show you that falling isn't the end, that getting up matters more, that women are strong and capable and never need permission to be powerful. Charlotte stopped crying, opened her eyes, looked at Becca. In that moment, everything else faded. The betrayal, the divorce, the company, the revenge, none of it mattered anymore. All that mattered was this tiny person who needed her. A knock on the door, a nurse. Miss Hartwell, there's someone here, says he's the father. Becca looked at Charlotte, at her daughter's perfect face. Send him in. He has 5 minutes to meet his daughter. After that, we'll talk about what happens next. But Charlotte comes first. Always. The nurse nodded, disappeared. Graham walked in. He looked terrible, exhausted, older, like 3 months had aged him 10 years. He stopped just inside the door, stared at Charlotte. You can come closer, Becca said. She won't bite, yet. He approached slowly. When he reached the bed, he looked down at their daughter. His face crumbled. She's perfect. Becca, she's absolutely perfect. I know. Can I hold her? Becca hesitated. Every instinct screamed no. But Charlotte deserved a chance at having a father. You get one chance to be her father. To show up, to stay, to put her first, always. Not the company, not your career, not your pride. Her. If you can do that, if you can prove you're capable of that, then we'll figure out co-parenting. But if you disappoint her the way you disappointed me, if you make her feel like she's not enough, then you're done. Forever, understand? Graham nodded, tears streaming. I understand. I promise I'll be better. For her, for Charlotte. Becca handed him their daughter. He held her awkwardly, tentatively, but trying. Maybe trying was enough. Maybe trying was where every story began. Graham stayed for an hour, held Charlotte, talked to her in whispers, made promises he'd have to work every day to keep. Then he left, gave Becca space, promised to call tomorrow, asked permission for everything. It was a start. 3 weeks later, Becca returned to work. Charlotte came with her. The on-site childcare was perfect, state-of-the-art, certified staff. Other executive parents nodded to her in the halls. Respect, recognition, welcome to the club. She wasn't Graham Hartwell's ex-wife anymore. She was Rebecca Brennan, CMO, executive, mother, survivor, thriver. Andrew Mitchell stopped by her office the first day back, knocked on the open door. Got a minute? Come in. He sat across from her desk, looked uncomfortable. I wanted to say thank you for what you did at the board meeting. You could have let Stephanie destroy everyone. You didn't. You chose truth over revenge. That took guts. I chose truth because my daughter was watching. Not literally, but someday she will be. And I want her to know her mother was strong enough to tell the truth even when it was hard. Well, we're grateful, all of us. He hesitated. The board wants to talk to you about something, the CEO position. Long-term, once you're ready. No pressure, but they want you to know you've earned it. Becca looked at Charlotte, sleeping in her carrier beside the desk. Then at the Business Week article framed on her wall. Then at the future she was building from the ruins of her past. Let's talk, she said, but on my terms. Always on my terms. 6 months passed. Summer, July, the beach house. Charlotte was crawling now, fast, determined. She made straight for the water every time Becca put her down on the sand. Graham visited every other weekend. He was consistent, sober, present, not perfect, sometimes late, sometimes he forgot things. But he tried. He showed up. He loved his daughter in the clumsy learning way of a man figuring out fatherhood from scratch. Becca didn't love him anymore, didn't trust him, maybe never would. But she respected his effort, appreciated his commitment. Co-parenting wasn't the happy ending she'd imagined 5 years ago, but it was honest, real, sustainable. Morgan visited often, brought wine Becca couldn't drink while nursing, played with Charlotte, reminded Becca she wasn't alone. James got engaged to a woman named Rachel, someone who made him laugh, someone kind. Claire was already planning the wedding. Thomas grumbled, but wrote the checks. Family, messy, complicated, but present, showing up, staying. Becca sat on the porch as the sun set, Charlotte asleep in her arms, the ocean roaring, the sky turning orange and pink and purple. Her phone buzzed. Email from Gerald Morrison. Rebecca, the board voted unanimously this morning. We'd like to formally offer you the CEO position effective January 1st. You've earned this 10 times over. You rebuilt this company better than it ever was. You showed us what real leadership looks like. Congratulations, Gerald, CEO. Of Graham's company. No, not Graham's anymore. Hers. The company she saved. The reputation she rebuilt. The future she created from nothing but determination and skill and refusal to stay broken. I did this, not because of him, not in spite of him, but for me, for Charlotte, for every woman who's been told she's not enough, for every mother forced to choose between career and family, for everyone who's been betrayed and broken and told to be quiet about it. I did this, and I'm just getting started. Charlotte stirred, opened her eyes, looked at Becca, smiled. That smile, that was the victory. That was the proof. Falling isn't the end. Getting up matters more. The best way to destroy what tried to destroy you is to rebuild yourself into something even better. Becca kissed her daughter's forehead, tasted salt air and future possibilities and the sweet satisfaction of a life reclaimed. The ocean crashed against the shore, endless, unchanging, constant, just like her, just like the woman she'd become, just like the mother her daughter would grow up admiring. January 1st, new year, new beginning, new title. Rebecca Brennan, CEO of Hartwell Technologies. She stood in the executive office, floor-to-ceiling windows, mahogany desk, her name on the door. Not Hartwell, Brennan. The board had voted to rename the company last month. Brennan Technologies. Thomas had insisted, "You saved it. It's yours. Your name should be on it." Charlotte sat in a playpen in the corner. 10 months old, standing, almost walking. She babbled at her toys, perfectly content. Becca's assistant knocked. Sarah, 50 years old, former teacher, unflappable, perfect. The executive team is ready for you to conference room A. Thank you, Sarah. Becca picked up her tablet, her notes, her vision for the next 5 years. She'd been working on this plan for months. Growth strategy, market expansion, new partnerships, innovation. She was ready. Andrew Mitchell, VP of Operations. Jennifer Wallace, CFO. David Chen, CTO. Maria Rodriguez, Head of Sales. Her team, people she'd chosen, people she trusted. Good morning, Becca said. Let's talk about the future. They spent 3 hours strategizing, debating, planning. It was exhausting, exhilarating, exactly what she was meant to be doing. At noon, Sarah buzzed. You have a visitor, Graham Hartwell. He says he has Charlotte this weekend, but wanted to check with you first. Becca glanced at the calendar. It's Friday, send him in. Oh, Graham appeared in the doorway. He looked better than he had a year ago. Healthier, clearer, like therapy was actually working. Hey, he said, sorry to interrupt. I know you're busy. I just wanted to confirm the weekend schedule. It's fine. She's all packed. Car seat's in the back of my car. I'll walk down with you. They rode the elevator in silence. Not uncomfortable, just quiet. Two people who used to be married, who used to be everything to each other. Now just Charlotte's parents. Nothing more, nothing less. In the parking garage, Graham loaded Charlotte's bag into his car, buckled her into the car seat. She giggled at him, grabbed his nose. Dada, she said, clear as day. Graham's face lit up. Did you hear that? She said Dada. I heard. First time, that's the first time she said it clearly. Becca smiled. Congratulations. He looked at her, really looked at her. You're amazing, you know that? CEO, mother, everything you've accomplished. I'm proud of you. Thank you. And I'm sorry. I know I've said it before, but I need to keep saying it. I'm sorry for what I did, for what I cost you, for everything. I know. And I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because holding on to anger was making me tired. I needed to let it go so I could move forward. You've moved pretty far forward. I have. And you're doing better too. Charlotte talks about you. She loves her weekends with you. You're being a good father. That's what matters now. Graham nodded. I'll have her back Sunday evening, 6 o'clock. Perfect. He got in his car, drove away. Charlotte waved through the window. Bye-bye, Mama. Becca waved back, watched them leave. Felt nothing but peace. That afternoon, she had lunch with Jennifer Walsh. Follow-up interview. The next chapter, Rebecca Brennan, 1 year later. So tell me, Jennifer said, how does it feel? IO of the company your ex-husband built? It feels like mine, because it is mine. I rebuilt it. I saved it. I earned this position. It stopped it being Graham's company the moment he walked away from it. What's next? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Becca looked out the window. The city spread below. Possibility everywhere. I see Brennan Technologies as $100 million company. I see expansion into international markets. I see innovative products that change the industry. And I see my daughter growing up watching her mother build something meaningful, something lasting, something that proves betrayal isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter. Maybe the most important chapter. The one that shows you who you really are. That's beautiful. That's truth. That evening, Becca sat on the beach house porch, alone, quiet, content. Her phone buzzed. Text from Thomas. Dinner tomorrow? Your mother wants to see Charlotte, and I want to hear about your first week as CEO. Proud of you, princess. Love, Dad. She smiled. Type back. We'll be there. Love you. Another text. Morgan. Wine night next week? I have gossip, and you have a daughter who needs her Aunt Morgan. Miss you, XO. Definitely. Thursday? Perfect. The sun set, orange and pink and purple. The ocean roared, constant, eternal, beautiful. 1 year ago, she'd sat in a restaurant and watched her life implode, watched her marriage end, watched her future disappear. Now she sat in her own home, CEO of her own company, mother to her daughter, strong, whole, complete. The greatest revenge isn't destroying someone who hurt you. It's becoming so complete, so whole, so powerful without them that their absence becomes irrelevant. They didn't break you. They freed you. Becca stood, walked inside, made dinner, read reports, answered emails, lived her life, her real life, the one she'd built from scratch, the one that was hers and hers alone. And it was good. It was enough. It was everything. So that's my story. From anniversary betrayal to boardroom victory. From abandoned wife to CEO. From broken to unbreakable. Here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't define you. How you rebuild yourself after betrayal, that defines you. And sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the catalyst for becoming who you were always meant to be. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt betrayed or broken or like your life was falling apart, I want you to know something. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than anyone told you. And your story isn't over. It's just beginning. If you found strength in Rebecca's journey today, if her story gave you hope or inspiration or just 2 hours of satisfying justice, do me a favor, hit that like button so more people who need this story can find it. Drop a comment telling me what moment hit you hardest. Was it the anniversary dinner? The board meeting showdown? Rebecca becoming CEO of her ex-husband's company? Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone going through their own betrayal. Someone rebuilding their own life. Someone who needs to know that falling down isn't the end. Getting back up is what matters. And subscribe to this channel because I have more stories like this. Stories of women who refused to stay broken. Stories of revenge that turned into redemption. Stories that prove the best way to get over betrayal is to become so successful that your ex becomes a footnote in your origin story. Rebecca Brennan went from devastated to dominant. And so can you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next story.